Is doing something differently, creating some kind of change that has got a benefit. I want to tell you something. I'm very proud of you, honestly, because most of the time I have to battle a lot of people to get to that definition that you got. Because the people I tend to work with think that innovation has to be something that is never done before, something absolutely new. It's a new idea and a new thing that never crossed on a human mind before to call it innovation, which made my life very difficult trying to convince them that no, it doesn't have to be a completely another item for another planet that never anybody thought of it before to be innovation. In fact, changing a process to a better outcome can be innovation. Change of the way you look at evaluating something from another angle can be innovation. So I'm very happy to hear that this is the mindset that you have for innovation. Hence, we're gonna go into the topic right away. One of the most important parts I'd like to highlight first is what are the essential components for innovation. I'm not talking about, my style. I always set the mind, get the frame right, and then we can dig into the questions. But we need to have some kind of framing. What are the essential components of Mark has arrived. Can you please greet him? Welcome, Mark. You're going on YouTube and viral video. Mark just arrived an hour and 9 minutes late, I think. And he's saying he's bad, which we're gonna punish him later on, but that's okay. Now, moving on, we're talking about innovation, my friend. I've got the book here for you, which means you gotta sit here, not here. Part of the disadvantages of waiting for you is that you don't get to choose or sit next to the legendary Scott. So part of the punishment. Cool. We're talking about innovation, so don't worry about the paperwork. Scott will help you with this. Who's got your back? And I got your back too. This is the unit we're on, and now we're talking about the concept. What is innovation? We said the summary of it, which is recorded, that it is some kind of change to a better result of some sort. And this is amazing definition to have. So now I asked a provocative question, which is, what are the essential components for innovation? For innovation to happen, there are certain components that need to be there. This matter is not arguable. It's empirical, tons of studies all over the planet. Now, some factors is arguable, but some factors are not. Every single study agree on certain factors, which is the part I'm gonna pitch. But some other studies say other factors, other studies can argue them, but there are certain things, and it's essentially two things that I have found them to be in every single study out there that's saying innovation, two factors have to be there. Now, what do you think are two essential components for innovation to happen? Creative thinking. First essential component for any innovation to happen at any workplace in the world, in any country, one is time. You need to have set free time for innovation to actually happen. Now let me tell you and put it into context so you can connect with it. If you are the kind of person, let's say military operation, right? So you arrive on the site, you have a mission, 1, 2, 3, 4, this happened, you do this, and bam, 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 and the pace is really fast. You have no 2 seconds to respond to any thought. You will never be innovative. Got me? You have a task, you have a list, and you're going from 8 to 5 or 12 to 8, whatever hours, I don't care. But the idea here is that you have, let's say, 8 items that need to be finished in the next 8 hours, and each item takes 1 hour. Bam, bam, bam. You'll never be innovative that way. How can you be innovative? Is, let's say we give you 6 things that you're gonna do that take 6 hours and leave 2 hours for you to sit down and think. Here is innovation. Innovation can happen here. I shared with you before about Google gives their people, their teams, Friday to work on a project by themselves that they are interested in. They are at work, but they're not working. They're just doing something they're passionate about on that Friday. Why is Google doing this? Because Google is looking for Innovation, that's right. They're passionate about it, so they've got the passion there. And it's giving them the time. So why not? Yeah, let's have a push bike that can just go by itself. Even if you don't know how to, it will balance itself. All these, a lot of innovative products and ideas came from that one Friday where they're working on something they're passionate about. And Google's providing them with the resources. Google is not stupid. It's not gonna give their people one day just to go and have fun. They know what the result will be. And the result is speaking for itself. So one thing is time. Is that simple? Yes or no? All right. The next thing for innovation to happen is desperate need. Now, I'm gonna leave it pretty open. I don't want to restrict it. Desperate need for promotion. You want to be promoted to the next one, so you want to innovate something. So they can see your management and see you like, oh wow. Yeah. Or desperate need, your life is so difficult because this problem keeps reoccurring, so you have a desperate need to solve this so you can have a good day after that, from now on. In other words, desperation creates innovation. You will see this evident if you ever see yourself or someone that you know that they are in a very critical scenario and they really need to get resourceful because they are in a desperate scenario. Their car broke down, you know, in the middle of nowhere, there's no network. They will think and invent something, you know, a mini satellite, make a fork become an aerial antenna. They will have to think of something because of the desperation. Does that make sense? Yeah, MacGyver kind of thing, yeah. Although he wasn't really desperate, he was always ready for that, but kind of like this. So the idea here is desperation creates innovation. Okay. Now there are other studies that suggest other factors, but it is arguable. These two have been in every single paperwork and conference and submission I have seen. So I sort of extracted them and I said, well, there must be really essential components in every innovation. Okay. Now, moving on to innovation today, we're taking it the next level up. We're not talking just about innovation. The topic that we have today is promote innovation in a team environment, which essentially means you don't necessarily have to have innovation happening, you gotta push innovation. Does that make sense? You gotta push innovation on the team, which at times you may have to orchestrate the second factor for the innovation ingredient. What is it? Second factor, just wrote it down. Yeah. So you might go and say, team, listen up, we got a problem. I need this product in 24 hours. I don't care how, when, who. Well, I know one thing, if this product is not out by 24 hours, you don't have a job, and you too, and guess what? I'm with you as well. I'm not saying this is right, I'm just trying to give you an example, I'm acting it out. That maybe you need to create that desperate, okay? So now we know that our mortgages, our lives on the line, we gotta innovate, we gotta do something, we gotta, I don't know, we gotta get these machines working 24 hours, do something. Got me? Cool. So from that mindset, we're going now that I'm not just being innovative myself, in fact, I'm actually pushing innovation and shoving it in a way in somebody's mouth. In a way, but remember, we're gonna create desperate need, but sometimes if you push on the dose, far beyond the desperation, it becomes stress. And then what happens to the brain when a person is really stressed, their brain changes its state to survival mode, which is, I call it the reptiles, you know, like baby brain. And you see everything magnified. Cockroach like this, you see it that big because you're in a survival mode. Everything is a risk and you're scared, right? So it's not gonna work. So in other words, what I'm trying to say after the acting part is we need to instill on them that sort of urgency and desperation, but without overdosing them that they turn into stress and go into a reptile brain. Does that make sense?
Don't you risk burning out, you guys, if you push them too hard like that? Push them too hard in that kind of a fashion, you risk burning them out.
Yeah, which is another thing on the long run, but we're talking about orchestrating just that part. So you gotta get your dose sort of right, that you give it just right. If you give them more, overdose. If you give them less, it's underdose. One of the main questions I often get about this point, all right, Joe, that sounds cool, makes sense, perfect. How do I know the dose? What's the answer? And we said you gotta give the right dose right. If it's under, it's not gonna have the effect. If it's over, they're gonna overdose on it. So how do I get the dose right?
Give it in small increments.
Maybe under dosage.
Put more on air quote, so
Yeah.
fake that.
Yeah.
Push them but ask them.
Mark is looking up towards the left, and the inventive brain is gonna come out as like. What do you think, Mark?
I don't know, actually.
You're right. So there is no answer to that question as such, but it is more like I want you to imagine this. It's like imagine this metaphor. It's a trial and error. So you have a piece of meat. We're gonna call this the dose, just so we can connect to it. Okay? They open their mouth, shove it in their mouth. Right? Now, one of two things can happen. They can chew and they are swallowing and things are happening, then that's the right dose. If they are too comfortable, you might have to increase the size of that piece of meat. And if you put it and shove it in their mouth, they're choking, what do you need to do? Trim it, right? Trim it and try another one. Until you get the one that they are sort of chewing on and swallowing with, not with comfort, but okay. Then you know that that's the right dose. So this is sort of what Steve says, that you gotta test those things and look out for signs. Not necessarily ask for feedback, because sometimes people might